Hey everyone! I know I've been telling you guys I'm going to give you a homeschooling video, or at least this video series that we talked about on Instagram forever ago, and I've been really busy, but I am in the middle of baking right now. Well, it's in the oven, so I figured this was a good time to sit down and do this video. I apologize that it's dark, but it's nighttime, and it's just too loud to do it during the day with the kids. So I asked you guys on Instagram what I should do how I should break these videos down, because you guys asked me a whole bunch of homeschooling questions that are really great. And so I've combined them into some base questions, and some of you wanted this in all one video, but based on the questions I got, I thought it was better to break it down into appropriate topic videos, and you guys know I'm a bit of a talker, so I figured it would be easier if I just broke it down into a couple of shorter videos. I think we're gonna do 3, and that will work a lot better and just be a little bit easier for you guys to follow. For those of you who have no idea who I am, I figured I would introduce myself right now because I do get a lot of newcomers on these homeschooling videos. So, hi, my name is Rainbow, for real. I am a homeschooling mom in Canada. I have 2 kids that are 7 and 4, and we have been homeschooling for a couple of years now, but we are just... This past year was our first official, proper registered year of homeschooling. In these videos, I don't claim to know everything. I am not an expert. I am just one homeschooling mom sharing what I know. I'm never going to talk about what I don't know. I'm just going to share from what I know, and then it can be a continued conversation. And then usually I will update as the year goes on. Maybe in the fall when the school year starts, I'll do another set of these or something. But this is just a good way for me to learn about other ways of homeschooling, and for you guys too, and especially for those who are just thinking about starting or have just started and don't really know what direction they want to go in. These can be really helpful. Alright, that's enough intro stuff, and we will get started. This is more of the technical video to the homeschooling series, I guess I should say. Here I'm going to be covering your most asked questions about our personal homeschool routine, curriculums, how I homeschool, that sort of thing right now. If you want a longer, more detailed version of the things I talk about in this video, you could check out the video I did from last year when I was just starting this particular method. I'll link that in the description below. But I'm just going to combine the questions that I got most frequently right now about our current homeschool method. If you've been following us for a while, you know that we've kind of been meddling through different types of homeschooling, like Waldorf and Montessori and Charlotte Mason, unschooling, all sorts of things, and we were just trying to feel our way through it in the early years to see what worked best for us, to see what we wanted to really start with. And in this search, I discovered this method that I like to call the 3 things method, and that is what we do. So a really quick basic rundown of the 3 things method is I break down our school routine. Now this is a rhythm, this isn't a curriculum, this isn't a routine. I really like a lot of the things about unschooling and things like that, but it just wasn't structured enough for our family. And for me, as the one teaching my kids, I need more structure and I need more of a routine, just because life gets busy and I need something I can follow. But I still really wanted that freedom of being able to kind of do our own thing, and for me to be able to adapt this schedule to my kids and their learning and what they wanted to learn, their interests, and where they were on kind of the normal scale. The 3 things we do are something called the main lesson, handiwork, and something called heart. And we always do reading. So we'll start our day with reading, we'll move to the handiwork or the main lesson, we'll do our handiwork, and then we'll do heart. And I'll show you my actual schedule in a second, but I'll just give you a brief explanation. Reading is self-explanatory. We read together out loud. That's how we start our school day. Main lesson, this is where you would enter your curriculum or whatever you're learning for the core subjects. And this is like the bulk lesson, the main school lesson would be in this portion. Then we do a handiwork portion, which is just handicrafts. A lot of people have a lot of different names for this. This is just hands-on things, it could be arts and crafts, just anything that they're getting their hands into, like hobbies, knitting, sewing, woodworking. The list never ends. You can look for inspiration for this topic anywhere, but it's just whatever you'd like to do. It's just we try and do a handicraft kind of thing every day. This can also be lessons like piano lessons, music lessons, stuff like that is what we use for this portion. And last is something called heart. Now I saw something like this 3 rhythm method on the internet somewhere. I cannot remember for the life of me where I saw it. I really tried to track it down and I could not find it last year when I did this and talked about this. When I was reading about this method, this is where they had put their religious teachings in. And for us personally, that doesn't work for our family. We are secular homeschoolers, meaning non-religious. And so for this part, I've just transitioned that a little bit, and we teach we do like a mix of things, really. So in this category, I just try and put things that kind of nurture the spirit, and sometimes we'll put things like our personal beliefs, like around holidays, we'll do activities or lessons that pertain to that. We are really heavily nature-based, so sometimes we'll do a lot of nature-based things or teachings in this section. I also use this section for things like poetry and discussions, podcasts, character building, growth mindset and character building are like the core focus of my heart portion. We'll also do teachings on like evolution and stuff like that in this section, but that's not something we do every day because I just feel like that's a little repetitive. And in this section, I also personally put our ASL. And so American Sign Language is something we're teaching our kids, and we have since they were babies, and I'm just trying to continue that because we kind of lost it a little bit when they were, you know, in that toddler, older kid stage, and now so this is just the portion where I'm bringing that back in. So if you're teaching your kids a language, maybe this would be a good portion to put that in for you too. So that is just a quick breakdown on our 3 things method. That is our main lesson, our handiwork, and our heart portion. And this works really well for me because this is just a rhythm. I can pop this into my journal, which I'll show you in a second, and I know exactly what we're doing. But it's not so strict that it's saying you must do this at this time, and like it's not so overwhelming. So it gives us the freedom, but it also gives me the structure I need to stay really organized. A happy medium, if you will. So for this, for like my homeschool organization, I actually just use a journal like this. I just bought a new one because I just ran out of my old one, which is kind of perfect timing to do this video. So it looks like this. It's just got like an elastic. I think I actually found this one at the dollar store, though I saw a lot that might work at like Chapters and HomeSense. Basically, it's just a notebook that has the date, and it's just got 3 pages. There's no distinct sections, which I like. At the beginning of this book, I write basically my list that I'm pulling from, and I'll show you about that in a second. So I'll show you last Thursday's schedule, and I've got Mondays for tomorrow already filled out. Friday didn't have a written portion because on Fridays we usually do like a more nature-minded or field trippy day, and so sometimes I don't always write what we're doing in that day. And that's kind of the lovely thing about this schedule, is I don't have to be so rigid with it, but I do like to keep this very, I like to write in it every day. So this was for Thursday, and so in this I just write the date on the top. And I have our reading, which is, we usually try to read 1 chapter every morning. I do the main lesson, which was social studies on Thursday. We do handiwork on Thursdays. We like to do board games or like tabletop games as a family. And our heart was a character building lesson, which I talked about down here, and I just like wrote it out for myself. So then I also write like basic morning things that need to get done, like calendar and weather. Chores and self-care, we just include this in this part because it's just more like character building stuff. Active time, making sure we get an active time every day, which I write this down, but it happens. And then extra reading for both the kids. Grayson would be verbally, Mackenzie would be reading to us. And it's really basic. And then I just do Grayson's little thing that he's working on, and notes. And then just any notes that I have for that day, I write there. So for tomorrow, so normally I would just write in like reading the 1 chapter, because then down here in the notes is where I'll put like what we're reading, and then the main lesson, and then I can just pull from my big schedule and fill out like math is tomorrow, and there's piano lessons tomorrow, and for heart we're doing podcast and art, and things like that, and like what Grayson's doing while we're, for his main lesson is what this is, and then he does everything else with us. So in the front of this book, I hope you can see this, I can't really tell what you can see. I just wrote basically things to pull from for me. Things I want to make sure we're paying attention to for our nature studies. I have on 1 page. Homeschool inspiration and desires. So subjects apart from the cores I want to be teaching and focusing on this year. Because I kind of wrote this book for the next school year as well, since I just started it and we're ending the school year. I just have little like notes for me, like I want short lessons, free afternoons to explore passions, lots of adventures, and lots of field trips, which is just kind of, that portion fits in with our family and kind of how we live. So we have a rhythm. We're a little bit unschooly in the sense that we don't follow a specific curriculum, but we're also kind of Charlotte Mason inspired with a lot of our work that we do, like a little bit. And also that we do our main teaching in the morning. Our schedule is kind of, we try to start around 9 a.m. and we go to about noon, 1 o'clock, depending on what we're doing. But I don't beat myself up about it if we don't start that time. Like, it's not a rigid schedule. We try to do from 9 to noon or 9 to 1 so that we can just get it done in the morning. And then I like to have the afternoons for the kids to explore their own passions or take that opportunity to go on an adventure or a little field trip or something like that. So if they have something they're really interested in on a personal level, they can dive more into those subjects and topics after we've done the main portion of school. But there are totally days where we start after lunch and we do it in the afternoon instead of the morning. It just depends on what we're doing, and that's really what I like about this schedule, is it's very flexible. So I can actually plan things, and if something's happening in the afternoon, then we know morning school's happening. If something's happening in the morning, then we know, okay, we can just push school to the afternoon and it works out. And then we're doing school from like noon to 3 or 4. So I just kind of stick to that general routine. I got a lot of questions about curriculum, which I think it's a lot of, it's what a lot of people think of when they're looking into homeschooling stuff. We personally don't use a specific curriculum, but we kind of go off of the Canadian curriculum. So just for now, mind you, we are like still in the really first steps of homeschooling. Like Mackenzie's in technically grade 1. She's in a grade above, like work-wise. That's another reason I like this, is because we can kind of go out where if she's excelling in a subject, we can keep jumping up as far as we need to meet her interest and her desire. Same with Grayson, he's just younger, so it's not, I just am saying more Mackenzie things because she's the one that I'm really schooling right now. Right now, my kids really enjoy workbooks, and so I do incorporate workbooks and school sheets. So what I do right now, I don't know if this is going to be what I do even all of next year. We've done a year like this already and we liked it. There are some things we didn't like, but maybe that's for another video. So we just use like the complete Canadian curriculum, and we use this as a base. So we'll do the worksheets in here, and if I feel there's something lacking in the particular subject, then I will supplement this with extra things from other curriculums, other activities, but this is our basis when it comes to curriculum. We go off the Canadian curriculum. Like I said, Mackenzie's in grade 1, but her main curriculum is in grade 2 because that's just where she's kind of at. Grayson, we just do a pre-K one with him, and it's just a wipe clean book, so we can go over the same lessons. Just because my kids really enjoy school worksheets. Sometimes, most of the time, in general they do. But if that makes a drastic change, I will let you know. I'm sure it will change. Oh, sorry, I bumped the light. But just as the kids grow and their learning needs change, I don't know how long this is going to meet our needs. I'm just kind of using it so that our kids have any opportunity they want when it comes to schooling later on, so that they're hitting all their core subjects. And so I'm kind of trying to keep them up to date with the public school, but just going way out in other directions. Now I'm getting really wordy, but I hope you know what I'm saying, where I'm just making sure they're meeting the milestones that are being met in case they want to go to public school or something one day, but we're just really branching out and doing much more than just the basic things. And I kept talking about how I'm pulling from a main schedule. So on the first, like on one of these inside pages that just like come in the book, I've written our homeschool schedule and rhythm, and this is just like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and what we do. So I've just got like an M, and H, and an H for main lesson, handiwork, and home and heart. And so then I just fill in, like Mondays we do math, and for our handiwork we do piano lessons, and for our heart we do podcast and art, because we listen, right now, our favorite podcast is a podcast called Bedtime Stories for Rebel Girls. Highly recommend it if you are looking for one. But we just do like educational podcasts or inspiring podcasts in this section for right now. Sometimes that changes. I don't know if you guys really want me to go into our entire schedule, but I'll just do the basics, like the cores. So like Tuesdays we do science, Wednesdays we do English, Thursdays is social studies, Friday is our nature studies day, and then will just put in, I have like a full schedule so that when I do my daily schedules, I can just flip to this page, be like, okay, we're doing math, so I know that we're gonna do like 2 pages or so of math and like whatever supplement lesson we need if we need one, and then I know that we're doing like piano lesson for him, so it just makes it easy. So I take 5 minutes the night before and fill in our schedule for the next day, and then I wake up and I'm ready to go, and it moves really smoothly and I really enjoy it. If you guys really do want to know what our weekly schedule actually is, then you can just let me know and maybe I'll share that. But I don't want to share it now in case nobody cares, and I'm just wasting time talking too much, like usual. The last question I got for this section was, how do we keep a portfolio or some sort of thing to show our teacher? So here we have a homeschool facilitator. I'm in Alberta, and how homeschooling works here is that we register with a school board, but it can be any school board. It doesn't have to be right where we live. And then a local facilitator that works for that school board will visit us twice a year. She'll also come if we want her to other times of the year, but there's 2 visits in our home, and we go over, you know, our goals for the school year and things we're going to work on, and we just kind of, it's just like a meeting with the kids to talk about the upcoming school year. We're actually about to have our closing meeting for the spring, where we're going to be talking about how we met all of our goals, any goals we didn't make, stuff like that. She's basically just checking in to see how we're doing. And also it satisfies government thing, which I think is great, to make sure that, you know, people are actually homeschooling their kids who say they are, and that everything is going well, and that these kids are learning and being healthy and thriving. For right now, our facilitator doesn't necessarily require a portfolio. That might change. Like I said, we've only met with her once. We're about to meet with her a second time because we've only done a full year just of registered homeschooling. I do use this as kind of my record book. That's another reason I keep this. Mostly it's for me, but also it's nice to be able to show her all of the things we're doing, all the things we've been working on, like what our days are looking like. That's why I have that notes section, so I can like highlight anything I want to speak to her about when we meet up, or via email, or if I have any questions throughout the year, we have full access to our school board, which is really nice. And I also keep art projects, like special ones, not just random ones, kind of in a portfolio to show her, so that, or for Mackenzie to show her, because that's really what they want. It's kind of like a big show and tell period, which is really nice. This may change. Like I said, we're really newbies with this whole thing. Especially this next meeting coming up, it's going to really give me a chance to see if she's wanting more, to see if I should be building a bigger portfolio. But we don't really have to worry about that too much right now. Pretty much we just talk to her about what we're doing. I show her a few things. She can kind of tell between the visits that we get whether or not the child has grown and learned things. I can use, that's why we do some worksheets. I can use those books as kind of a basis. She can flip through it and see where she's at an educational level, stuff like that. But I will give you an update, and I'll keep you updated on that if our portfolio building changes, because I know a lot of people also have to do these portfolios. Ours is just a bit different based on the school board we're with and our personal facilitator. Okay, you guys, this is why I broke these videos up, because I knew they would be long, but I hope this helped you. I try to keep it to the point. I am a talker. I hope this was just good for you guys, and this answered all the questions you wanted about just the more technical things about how I personally homeschool my kids. Everybody does it differently. I'm not an expert. You don't have to homeschool like me. You don't have to homeschool whatever. This is just for people who like to know these things and who want to know these things and who maybe want to take some inspiration from this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. I will answer you. I'll get back to you. And if you have, I do have a topic, like another homeschool category video coming up about the basics. So if there's anything you want to know about the basics that I might be able to shed some light on, let me know if you have any questions there. That was the only category that was a little bit random. I didn't have any like specific space for. I have some room for a few more questions. I just don't really know what you guys want to know, for those of you who would like to know more about basic homeschooling, how to get started, that kind of thing. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking at you. I'm going to go eat the delicious brownies we just made, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.